Yo, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of the Sauce. Monday morning right now, talking Monday Night Football. Quick recap of the weekend. College football was excellent, plus 6.24 units. Wow, was a monster Saturday. NFL Sunday, slightly in the red. We're slightly in the green for the week, plus 0.21 units. Back-to-back NFL weeks that are coming down to Monday Night Football. Last week, I was slightly red heading into Monday Night Football, and I took the Jets in the under. Put me in green for the week. This week, I'm slightly green heading into Monday Night Football, and we got two games. So let's see what we got. Let's take a look at things. First up, huge division rivalry here. Browns on the road in Pittsburgh. Line's Pittsburgh plus 2.5. It's actually down to 2 now, though. Total sitting at 38.5. Let's go.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
So action's pretty split even in this one. Public's actually on Cleveland, though. Nothing crazy, about 58% of the tickets as of Monday morning. Line was up at 2.5, but now it's down to an even 2. So there was a lot of hype on the Steelers last week. I mean, a lot of people thought they were going to beat the 49ers at home to start the season, myself included. I had Pittsburgh in that game. Offense got off to an awful start. The Steelers' first 5 drives of the game, 4 of them were 3-and-outs, and the other one was an interception. Kenny Pickett, with 1:35 left in the second quarter, was 5 for 9 with 9 yards and a pick, and he was sacked twice. By that time, it was 20-0 San Francisco, and then the 6th drive for the Steelers, they actually put points on the board, which was their only points of the game. To add insult to injury, well, actually it should be to add injury to injury. Deontay Johnson looks like he injured his hamstring. He's going to be out for a few weeks. A lot of people have already bailed on the Kenny Pickett train. Terrible stat line here, 31 of 46, just 242 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and it should have been 3 interceptions. All that being said, I kind of can't believe the public's on Cleveland here, on the road in Pittsburgh, primetime Monday Night Football. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Steelers looked terrible in week 1, and Cleveland absolutely dominated. They held Joe Burrow to the worst game of his career, 14 of 31, 82 yards, and no touchdowns. So logic would tell us, so the Browns shut down Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. Kenny Pickett looked terrible, so the Browns should, in turn, shut down Pickett, Pickens, and Freiermuth even harder. Unfortunately, that's not how football works, especially when you're dealing with division rivalries. I have a feeling we're going to see a heavy dose of Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren in this game. OC Matt Canada promised us we were going to see a run-first offense from the Steelers this season with some deep shots sprinkled in. We saw basically the complete opposite of that in week 1. The Steelers dropped Pickett back to pass on 10 of the first 12 offensive plays. Pittsburgh, check this out, Pittsburgh ended the game only calling 9 design run plays the entire game. Now, the second chunk of that game is obviously because they were down big on the scoreboard, but regardless, I think it's safe we can hang our hats on the Steelers looking to run the ball early in this one. Keep in mind, the Steelers started last season 2-6, then rallied to finish 9-8, and they did it by running the ball and playing defense. From weeks 9 to 18, Steelers had the 8th best rushing attack in the NFL, over 1,300 yards rushing in that span. They were also best in the NFL on third downs in that span as well, converting third downs at a 52% clip. How? By running the ball and setting up third and manageable. What did the Steelers do in the offseason? They added a run-blocking guard. They traded up with the Patriots to draft a left tackle. The only skill player they added in the draft was 6'7", 274-pound tight end Darnell Washington out of Georgia, who they referred to as their 6th lineman. This is an offense built to run the football. In my opinion, the only reason we saw a pass-happy offensive game plan week 1 is they were playing the 49ers. San Francisco's defense was absolutely nuts against the run last year. They were second only to the Titans in yards per game allowed, yards per carry allowed, and run defense DVOA. They shut down the Bengals offense last week, as we know, but you know what? Joe Mixon and Chris Evans combined for 15 carries, 68 yards. That's 4.5 yards per carry. That's actually solid. Cleveland's run defense was a major weakness last year. Now, they did have some injuries, but they finished the season just 25th in yards per game allowed, rushing yards per game allowed, 25th in yards per carry allowed, and 28th in run defense DVOA. Now, they did bring in a couple of D tackles to address that issue, Tomlinson and Ika, but Ika's out for this game. He's not even playing. On the other side of the ball, the Browns offense was not overly impressive last week. It was actually kind of mediocre. I mean, it was overshadowed. The main story of that game was Joe Burrow getting completely blanked, so no one was really paying attention to the Browns offense not looking that great. Nick Chubb definitely did do his thing. Browns as a team rushed for 206 yards on 5.1 yards per carry, but can you depend on that showing up on the road in Pittsburgh against the Steelers defense, a unit that just got ran on by the 49ers? You think they're going to let that happen again? In Nick Chubb's last 4 trips to Pittsburgh, he's averaging just 64.5 rushing yards per game, 4.4 yards per carry, and 0 touchdowns. Hasn't scored a single touchdown. So Pittsburgh's had no problems dealing with Nick Chubb in the past. Like I said, the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey were able to run the ball on the Steelers last week, but I really doubt that's going to happen again. This is a Steelers defense that was great against the run last year. 9th in yards per carry, 9th in yards per game, 5th in run defense DVOA. And if the Steelers defense is able to hold Nick Chubb in check like they have his last 4 trips to Pittsburgh, ask yourself this. I want you to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself this. Do you really trust Deshaun Watson on the road in Pittsburgh with TJ Watt and the Steelers pass rush coming? Do you really trust him? Deshaun Watson only threw for 154 yards last week on 29 attempts. Now, the weather was shitty, so let's cut him a little bit of slack, but just 55% completions on 5.3 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. This was at home in an afternoon game. This one's a primetime Monday Night Football game on the road against the Steelers, who just got embarrassed last week. Doesn't exactly give me a ton of confidence. Also, Browns right tackle Jack Conklin unfortunately out for the season right after getting a 4-year extension. That sucks for Cleveland. That's a huge loss to the offensive line. 4th round rookie DeJuan Jones will be starting in his spot. This is concerning because the Bengals were actually pressuring Watson. Like I said, the main story of that game was Burrow getting shut down, but the Bengals pressured Watson on 25.7% of his dropbacks, and you might not have been able to tell this because the 49ers won so decisively, but the Steelers were absolutely swarming Brock Purdy. Pittsburgh pressured Brock Purdy on 55.9% of his dropbacks. 55.9. That led the NFL in week 1. Want to know what the difference is? Brock Purdy has Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. Who does Deshaun Watson have to bail him out of these pressure situations? Keep in mind, Amari Cooper most likely not going to play. I mean, can you really compare the 49ers weapons to Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and David Bell? Those are the guys bailing Deshaun Watson out of the Steelers' pressure. And by the way, I should add that the Browns never win this game. Every regular season, the Browns travel to Pittsburgh. Obviously, they play in the same division. Want to know their record in this game since 2004? 0-19. 0-19. It's been 20 years since they won this game, and they're favored because of week 1. Doesn't this reek of just the public overreacting to week 1? Real quick, let's read off some trends. Got a lot of ATS trends here. Tomlin as a home dog's hitting at 76%. As a division underdog's hitting at 72%. Stefanski as a favorite, 36%. In the division, 32%. As a division favorite, 22%. Teams that lost by 17 plus against teams that won by 17 plus, 61%. Week 2 underdogs at home for a second straight game, 73%. Week 2 underdogs that lost against favorites that were week 1 dogs, 66%. Week 2 teams that lost by double digits in week 1, 67% since 2012. I mean, this is a no-brainer for me. And let me preface, because I say no-brainer, that doesn't mean it's definitely going to hit. I just mean it's a no-brainer as far as where my money's going. I'm definitely on the Steelers here. I'm taking Pittsburgh +2. No hesitation. I'm on the Steelers. If you want my top bets, I'm not doing a video for Saints Panthers. So if you want the pick for that one, just go on the website. I'll have top bets, parlay of the day. I'll do a same game parlay for both NFL games. Also, you can join the Discord. If you're interested in any of that, just head over to KyleKirms.com. NFL Week 2 coming to a close. I'm slightly in the green, but I need to keep it even or better tonight to stay in the green because I'm very slightly. Let's have a fun Monday night. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.